Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I really appreciate you joining us here as we continue to celebrate. It's Thursday, so I want to welcome the Jackson metro area, the folks from the Mississippi Delta, and of course, here along the Mississippi Gulf Coast as we celebrate so many amazing people who are working in the trenches to make this such a great place to live, work, and play. Listen, for the Coast audience, you've probably heard of my friend John Ferrucci, who's the general manager, has bigger responsibilities than that at the Silver Slipper over in Hancock County. If you're from the Jackson Metro and Mississippi Delta area, maybe you've been down there at some point along the way. But what you're going to see in my friend John is he's not just a casino guy. He cares deeply about coastal Mississippi and this state. And without any further ado, let me welcome John Ferrucci back to the Ricky Matthews Show. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great, Ricky. It's good to see you again. Thank you.
Listen, as I mentioned to you before we started the show, when we started doing this show 4 years, now over 4 years ago, you and I first chatted in February of 2020. It's amazing that that much time has passed. But during that time, you guys have continued to expand the Silver Slipper in Hancock County. You've gained new responsibilities for the parent company, Full House, that you work for. You have other casinos across the United States that report to you. But it's interesting, as still the general manager in Silver Slipper, you guys have remained committed to the community and all the things that you do to be such a good community partner. I don't care how busy you get, you're never too busy to give back, are you?
No, you can't afford to do that. And this has been our mantra from before we even opened our doors, is that we're going to become an integral part of this community, a great business partner, a great civic partner. And we pick and choose the events that we sponsor or spend some time with and dedicate some of our capital resources and human resources to. But for the most part, we say yes to a whole lot more things than we say no to. We have a great staff who appreciate getting involved in the community, and I encourage them to do that, obviously. So it's worked for us really well, and we're just happy to be in the position we are in our community.
Well, John, you and I have had a wonderful discussion about, where you came from growing up in New Jersey, and then you went off to college. You had a lot of influences along the way, but you got into the gaming industry along the way. You came to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. You actually helped start the Grand Casino, for people who remember the Grand Casino. But John was a significant early leader in the development of casinos on the coast. He's seen a lot of change during that time. But it's been an exciting journey for you, hasn't it, John?
Oh, it really has. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. When we look back at, we were talking about what we've had to do and the experiences we've had. I mean, I've been involved with the operation of 6 casinos on the coast, and we'd have, I'm not sure, but 15, 20,000 people at some point have worked together with on the coast. So we can't go anywhere without running into people that we've worked with before and share some experiences with, over the years. And it's just been a great ride, and we're still enjoying it to this day.
Well, I know you're thrilled to be here, and your wife Bridget has been a great partner for you, just as my wife Ann has been for me. But your new responsibilities, man, give people a sense of, you don't just have responsibility for the Silver Slipper in Hancock County, but give them a sense of the other casinos that report to you now.
Okay, great. Well, it was a little over a year ago that our CEO came to me and he says, "Listen, I need a little help. We're growing, and we need to communicate a little better. So we need to either bring a chief operating officer into the company or talk about you taking on that role." And I said, "Listen, I'm flattered that you even talked to me about it, but I will tell you this: I don't want to give up the Silver Slipper Casino. It's been my baby since 2005, since before Katrina, and I got a lot of unfinished business here, and I'd like to be able to see that I can do both, if you don't mind." And we talked about it, and that's what happened. So I got promoted to Chief Operating Officer and Senior Vice President of Full House Resorts, our parent company, which is based out of Las Vegas. And I was able to maintain my responsibilities as the general manager of the Silver Slipper, and it's been pretty seamless up to this point. And so I took on the responsibility of having the general managers from the other casinos in our portfolio now kind of report to me on a day-to-day basis, and then of course I report up to our CEO, Dan Lee. But we took on two small casinos up in northern Nevada. One is the Grand Lodge, which is in the Hyatt Regency in Incline Village. It's a great little property. And then outside of Reno There's the little property called Stockman's Casino. It's small, 3 table games and 200 slot machines and 2 restaurants, and but it's a local joint in Reno and just outside of Reno, and it's a lot of fun. Outside of the greater Cincinnati area, over in Rising Sun, Indiana, right across the state line, we have the Rising Star Casino. That used to be a Hyatt property back in the day, and it's actually still on a riverboat that doesn't sail, but the casino itself is on a boat with a big pavilion out front where the restaurants are, and they can do a bunch of events out there. And so the general manager there reports to me, and we had a chance to go see her just recently, and that's been working out really well. And then we opened up a new property in just outside of Chicago on February 27th of last year, just anniversary a couple months ago. It's called the American Place Casino, and it actually had a starter name. We called it the Temporary because it is a temporary. The Illinois Gaming Commission allowed us to open early with a temporary facility while we built the permanent one, which is going to be much more grandiose. So it's a permanent. I mean, it's a temporary facility that still costs $143 million, to get a temporary open. But it opened in February of last year, and so I spent probably the better part of the year prior to going up there once or twice a month. We purchased all the equipment. We oversaw the initial start of the construction and site development. The big thing was hiring people. We needed to open with. We figured about 700 or 750 people, and we were after a year of recruiting, we were only able to get about 400 or 450, I think was the last number. So we opened up a little short. Consequently, had a little slower opening than we'd have liked. But as of us speaking today, they're up to about 550 employees, and the restaurants are open. All the table games are working, and it's starting to ramp up just like it was supposed to look when they first opened up. So we're very encouraged by that.
Hey, listen, John, later in my career, I was president and publisher of a newspaper and had regional responsibilities as well. That I was never in a position until later, the very last part of my career, where I wasn't actually a president and publisher. I was a regional president, but I loved having responsibilities for a sort of a local newspaper, while at the same time having the opportunity to have other newspapers report to me. It was a great learning for me. I was able to capture so many best practices at other places and bring them back here. Oh, yeah. And then since I was in the real world, I was experiencing what the publishers who reported to me were experiencing. And I liked it. It worked well that way. I was living what they were living, and it made a big difference. And the opportunity to work with great teams in other areas is a great learning opportunity. It is a great chance to bring stuff back here. And the other point is it makes your team stronger, because you're not here all the time, and gives you an opportunity to really kind of test them along the way, doesn't it?
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, the beauty of it is everybody's a product of their own experiences. So when we have a chance to interact with a general manager who came up maybe a different route than I did, and they have a different perspective on things operationally than I had, and that's a learning experience for me as well. So when we put, their experiences together with mine, and, we meet their teams that they've been able to assemble, or I assist them with that process, then we have everybody who's kind of talking the same language and looking at things with fresh set of eyes, and everybody grows from that experience. And I, like you just said, I bring that back to my guys here. We've all been together. Our team's been together, one of us, since the very beginning. So everybody's doing a great job, and they're anxious to, take on some new challenges and learn some new things. So that's been the best one is that, I'm kind of a foodie. Everywhere I go, I'm picking up some recipes or some menu opportunities and everything, and they dread it when I come back and say, oh my God, we're going to have to cook like all these different things now. We just came back from the trip, but it's made us better anyway. So, and that's how we all kind of get better as a result.
Yeah, I don't know that I could be a leader in a casino just because the food that you have that's available to you, especially as you go from one area to another, where the local sort of cuisine or cultures will give you some unique experiences. I wouldn't be able to handle that, man.
Well, it takes discipline, of which I have none, and. And the worst part of it is when I go to one of the properties, and of course everybody knows I'm there, and we go eat in the restaurant. Now the chef wants to show up, so they're always rolling all this stuff out for the table. Even if you wanted to try to be good, you couldn't, So, but it's good. I love giving them a chance to show off and show me some of their ideas and be creative, with that end. And, it's just a lot of fun.
So one of the big improvements you made at Silver Slipper along the way is the hotel tower. How's that going for you guys?
Oh, great. The hotel's been a great addition for us. We opened up in phases back in 2015, and we have 115 standard rooms, 5 junior suites, and we have 9 penthouse suites that are arguably the nicest rooms on the coast. I mean, they're really exceptional. You would not expect to find those down here at the end of the road in Hancock County, but it's really exceptional. And our premium players obviously really appreciate being allowed to stay in those rooms, and so that has been a real driver for us. And with 129 rooms, we can fill it up pretty easily just with people in our database who are anxious to stay with us.
I know you can. When we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with John Ferrucci from the Silver Slipper in Hancock County. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I have my good friend, John Ferrucci. We've seen a bunch of wars together over time, usually related to natural disasters and rebuilding efforts and you name it. But he's the general manager at the Silver Slipper in Hancock County, but also has responsibilities for casinos across the United States. And he, he's just been super committed to Mississippi. Someone wrote when we did a show back in February of 2020, John, someone wrote in the comments section that you are a great leader, that you have a heart of gold, and that you are a visionary. I can't think of a more wonderful thing to say about somebody.
That's very flattering. I don't know who said it, but I appreciate that sentiment, and that's the thing you try to leave behind. You want your legacy to be that you made a difference, and you were able to give good direction, because after all, that's what I do. I don't do anything around here. I point. I tell everybody I'm the hood ornament. You hear and see me first, but I give direction, and if I give good direction and they follow through on the direction, then everybody did their job properly, and that's the role I play.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Listen, one thing that is important, and you and I have chatted a little bit about this before, but as I said at the beginning, Silver Slipper is super committed to the community. I mean, you see it in so many different ways. When I've got folks from the Hancock Chamber like Tish Williams and others, I mean, whatever they need, you help provide it. You've just been a great community citizen. But this goes way back. I mean, you go back to even the Grand Casino days in the early days, to this belief that you have that to be a good community citizen, it's important. But what you've learned about Mississippians during that process is that we're some pretty resilient people, aren't we? When the going gets tough, we put politics and polarization aside, and we focus on what's in our heart and our soul, and what that's all about is helping your neighbor, and that really drives you, doesn't it?
It does, and I have to tell you, it really is unique. I grew up in New Jersey. The culture there was completely different, and then I spent some time in the Bahamas, and the culture there was completely different. But when I got to Mississippi, it was everybody talked about Southern hospitality, and I got a chance to really experience that for myself firsthand. And it was everything that it was hyped up to be, and then some. And it was a real pleasure, and still is to this day, meeting people who are from here, talking to them about how they grew up and the things that they experienced, and seeing how it's changed from the early days until now. And it's a real pleasure being part of that culture now. And I married a girl from Gulfport, Mississippi, so I'm like an honorary Southerner now.
You are.
Yeah,
you are.
It's official. But it's all good, and we're just thankful for that experience. It's been great.
Hey, listen, after Hurricane Katrina, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but I worked with Chuck Bienvenu, was involved in the Governor's Commission on Recovery, Rebuilding, and Renewal, and I was responsible for the tourism recovery effort, as you know, as it related to the planning around that. We did a lot of work, in fact, focusing on helping get the inland gaming law passed, and I gave a lot of speeches that the way we described it, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that investors had about coastal Mississippi after the storm was very intense. And so we worked hard to try to communicate what it is we were doing. Chuck Viambanu was, again, over the Hancock County like public meeting stuff, and I actually assisted him in the first meeting we had after Hurricane Katrina. It was actually in a church. It was an open-air pavilion now because the bottom part of it was blown out. And afterwards, a woman stayed behind, and she felt like she needed, I could tell she wanted to talk to me. I was just a volunteer. She perceived that I had some role. And all she wanted to tell me was that in the future, pre-position buses so that people who can't afford to put gas in their cars will have a way to get out of Hancock County. And the only reason she stayed was to tell me that. And then she went back to her van and she showed me the van and said, this is where I live now because I've lost everything and I lost some of my friends as well. I'm like, man, this is amazing. This woman, all she wanted to do is leave a message that saves people in the future. And in the Governor Commission recovery plan, we actually made sure that we addressed the very specific issue that she was bringing to the attention of all of us in the effort. But I mean, that just kind of personifies what's in the heart and soul of Mississippians for her to do that. I was so touched by that.
I agree, and that's what makes the Gulf Coast and this area unique and special. She's not alone. Almost everybody you talk to around here, they're more concerned with how it's going to impact other people and how they can help them. Everybody knows they'll take care of themselves some way or another. And if somebody does need help, you got to beat them up with a stick. Everybody's rushing to help, as much as they can. So it really, and thank goodness, because we've had our share of devastation around here. But every time, everybody just keeps on rolling. They hardly miss a beat, and that's really very special.
So, I think every community across America has had floods or tornadoes or earthquakes or, you name it. We've had our share here in Mississippi, that is for sure. But I think if you look up the word resilience in the dictionary, there's going to be a picture of Mississippi in there because we have proven over and over again that we are incredibly resilient and we know how to bounce back and we know how to build resilience into what we're doing. I mean, you did it when you built the Silver Slipper Casino, you did it with the plan that it's going to survive the next storm. And when you built the tower, you did the same thing. And then you're about to raise the roadway coming into your place. It's all about building resiliency into your infrastructure. You think about that stuff a lot, don't you?
Well, you have to. Yeah, because it's coming. This is the life we've chosen. This is where we've chosen to live, work, and play, as you say. And that there's going to be storms that are coming because we're prone to that. So you prepare for it in advance. Preventive maintenance on your equipment and looking ahead to worst case scenarios and being ready to react to that. I mean, that's a big part of what we do. And when we built the hotel, we probably put as much money into the foundation of the hotel as we did to everything above it.
Yeah, it's you needed to, for sure. Hey, so how's business going? You've got a great Mississippi clientele. You got a lot of folks coming over from Louisiana. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. No complaints, really. Everybody peaked in the end of 2020 and 2021. With the 1.9 trillion in stimulus money was out there. And 22 that leveled off a little bit. In 23 we got back to probably normal pre-COVID levels, and that's about where we've stayed at this point. You try to be creative with promotions, but you can only do so many things. And our marketing team is pretty awesome when it comes to coming up with things that are going to attract our guests and make them feel special and that is different and unique and something they hadn't seen before next time they come. Our food's always been a great driver for us, so we're trying to do things like that, just keeping the juices flowing and making everybody understand the consistency that every time they come to the Silver Slipper, it's going to be as good or better than it was the last time they were here. And that's how we grow.
It is how you grow. But yeah, it is. You think about the loyalty factor of the guests that come there. It's pretty significant, isn't it?
We have a very loyal fan base. We really do. And I think that is not by accident. I mean, we do, probably 50 or 60% of the people that come through our door come out of Southeast Louisiana, and they have other options over there. But for them to come, across the state line and come down to see us at the end of the road here, there's got to be a reason to do that. So one of the reasons, or several of the reasons, are they know what to expect when they get here. They're not disappointed when they get here and get what they expected. They love our food. We treat them right. We reward them according to their level of play and beyond. So they know that what they can expect, and there's that comfort level. And the fact that they've come here on a regular basis and they get to know each other, and there's this camaraderie among our customers, our guests, who recognize friends who meet at the same place, and eat at the same restaurant, and play the same slots, and so they have their own kind of cliques and social groups, mixed in. Plus all the other events that we do, with like that Rumble in the Gulf that we do every Thursday night. We've been doing that forever now, and that has taken on a life of its own. Every Thursday night we have classic cars, motorcycles, and Jeeps that congregate back behind our hotel. We have live music. It's the only night of the week that we really have live music down here. We open up our barbecue bar and a smokehouse cafe, we call it, and the beach bar. And it's a party down there every Thursday night starting at 4 o'clock. And it winds up on the casino floor at 9 o'clock where we do a big drawing for everybody. But it's just, it's unbelievable that people will come just for that event, but initially, and then they become a customer of ours after that, because that was one of the things that drew them. So it all comes together. It's all part of the package.
If you think about what was ground zero for Hurricane Katrina, Hancock County clearly was ground zero for Hurricane Katrina. If there was a ground zero in Hancock County for Hurricane Katrina, is literally where you built this casino. So where people, the way they can find it, if you think about the resurgence of Bay St. Louis and Waveland's beginning to really thrive today, as you take that drive down Beach Boulevard south from Bay St. Louis, you'll eventually come to the Silver Slipper. And it's a worthwhile endeavor, believe me. But it is amazing what you've been able to accomplish. And we're kind of out of time now, John. But it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend.
Always my pleasure, Ricky. You do such a great job. Everybody loves your show, and this is the reason why, because you're highlighting things that are important to everybody here, and they get to share experiences. So keep it up, man. And thank you for doing what you do.
I hope to see you soon. One day I'll get over there and we'll have lunch together. I really look forward to doing that.
Hey, listen. And the food's great, and you know that. So
yeah, I know that for a fact. So anyway, it's been great to have John Ferrucci, the general manager of Silver Slipper. Hey, when we come back, we're going to visit with someone special who wrote a children's book about disasters. I think you're going to want to listen to this conversation. We'll see you after this.